Hello, everyone, and welcome to Big Bold You, a show that is dedicated to inspiring others, and that means you, to play bigger, be bolder, which means you got to step out of your comfort zones so you can become the best version of yourself. Because this world, we all need every one of us playing bigger and making the biggest and best contribution we can to make this world a better place. As long as we're living, there is going to be a war between good and evil, and the only way evil wins is when good people, just like yourselves, aren't doing enough. And I promise you, each and every one of us can do more. Now, we are here on Sunday instead of Monday because tomorrow is Labor Day, and Ziggy gets a day off. Yay, Ziggy. Ziggy gets a day off. Every single one of you get a day off. And it's really an opportunity to celebrate what we do as worker bees and leaders. We get to celebrate our achievements in that time off so you can be with your family. We are so super excited for our topic today because I think there's a bright side of everything. I'm one of those people that I don't care. We're all going to have bad things happen to us. That is not a if, it's just a when. They're going to happen. There truly is a bright side. And so our topic today is the bright side of getting a pink slip, which is green screens and blue jeans. And it's amazing. And I'm super excited to just have our guest here, Wendy Clothier. And I had to make sure I wrote that down. But Wendy, we love you. We're so excited that you're here. And you, every one of you, you're going to love Wendy. So we want to apologize for the graphic that says Monday because it's not, it's Sunday, but it is what it is. But Wendy, thank you so much for coming. You're amazing. All the viewers are going to love you, and I can't wait for you to just share with them a little bit about yourself.
I'm almost excited as you are.
You are.
And the great things you say about me, I say ditto back to you.
Well, you are so incredible. And, you know, we met just probably about a month or so ago, and Wendy has this incredible energy that you're going to see, and she's infectious, and you're going to love her. And I told her, I said, Wendy, this show's going to go fast. We're going to blink an eye, and it's going to be over. So I really want to kind of jump into really having you share with everybody about yourself and who you are. And I know we've got some great pictures of your family and your cute dog who looks pretty big to me.
31 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Wendy Clothier. I am a transplant to Dallas. I can't believe in November I'll have been here 3 years.
Where did you come from?
I always tell people that's such a deceptive question. When people hear I moved here from St. Louis, oh, you're from St. Louis. And I say, I'm a double MK. I'm a missionary and a military kid.
Wow.
I have no home.
You have no home. You've been all over.
Yes.
But you've probably blessed so many people's lives.
That's because of God. So when I tell people my home is heaven, I have no favorite space,
I love that, Wendy.
Yes.
I love that because really that is our home.
It's my home. It's my eventual home.
Well, now, so your family was in the military and missionary work at the same time. Okay, yes. Tell us how that was.
So my dad was a pilot for the Army. So when people hear he was a pilot for the military, they automatically think, oh, Navy, Air Force. No, he was Army. And what he did was he was in Germany where I was born. My mother's native German as well. And he decided he wanted to become a missionary aviator.
Wow.
And moved to Africa. So after he finished all his flight time going all around Germany and Europe, and because when you go in Europe, the countries are so small. You fly over
exactly. It's
so
like
many countries.
Right, in an hour you're in a different country.
It's like our states, but countries, and even smaller.
And how long were you in Germany?
I was in Germany. My family was there longer than I was. It's like
Obviously.
As soon as I was born, they said, I think I was 6 months old. And we packed up, went to Chicago, which was our home base. That's where my dad met my mom in the German community there in Chicago. And packed up their stuff, shipped it to Nairobi, Kenya. And that's where we lived for a while.
Okay, so how long were you in Kenya?
Barely, like a year and a half.
A year and a half. But you've just been all over. And then how long have you been in the Dallas area?
Well, we lived, so we jumped lots of places. We went back to Chicago because that was home base, and then we had a miserable winter. That's my earliest memory of snow. Like
it's
I'm in
cold
my
up there, Wendy. It's cold up there.
So cold.
And here we've got this great summer and weather, and I love the summer. So
and my dad agreed with you. And so it was a horrible winter. People from Chicago still remember that summer. I think it was 77 or something. And we moved to Houston. We went from that horrible winter Chicago to
the humid
to Houston, to humid, where you walk outside to get your mail and you come back and go, I got to take a shower.
Right, exactly. I know. I don't know how you Houstonians live in that humidity. I guess you just get used to it.
Yes, you get used to it.
But then you came to Dallas.
We came to Arlington
3 years ago.
We came to Arlington. So we had been in this area before. We lived in Arlington.
Yes.
And then went a couple states before that, and my parents were in St. Louis, and they decided even St. Louis was too cold. And my mom said, we're going back to Dallas. And
so,
here we all are.
And then, so you've been here for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I think is so interesting, because you can just tell, you exude positivity, which my son says, Mom, you brainwash people with positivity. And I said, yeah, I know. Well, and I didn't have to brainwash you because you just exude it. But when we started to talk, and I said, I've got to have you on the show, and you were talking about really the bright side of getting a pink slip. So tell us, what was your core business? What were you doing in corporate America? How did this blessing of a pink slip come to you? When did you realize it was a blessing? You know, because I think a lot of times things happen to people that you wouldn't necessarily think, oh gosh, this is a wonderful thing to receive a pink slip, but there is a blessing in there. There's always a silver lining to every cloud. So kind of give us the background on that.
Well, you're so right. I didn't see the blessing immediately, but I trusted that this had happened for a reason. So this company that relocated me here, and then a year and a half into it, let me and about 7 of us go. No explanation, just we moved the team around, and we're forming a new team, and you're not part of it. Okay, I really like this job. So what I've been doing for the last 20 years is I'm a user experience professional. So I design user experiences. So anything you touch, any screen, it could be your ATM machine, it could be something on your phone, it could be on your desktop.
Right.
I make sure that experience that you have with it is the best it can be.
And it's so, you know what, and it's really important. I'm that way as a person. I want someone from the minute I meet them to the minute we do whatever we do to have a really fun experience, because people, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Yes. And there's so many little teeny tiny details that's wrapped up into that. And I'm sure you're phenomenal at your job, because that's just how you are with everything that you do. So you had been doing that for many, many years. You get the pink slip, and what do you do? You're like, oh my gosh.
Yes, and I thought, okay, well, I have been doing this for 20 years. Maybe this is God's nudge to do something else, because I've been all these years, all these 2 decades, I've always worked at corporate headquarters. I've always worked for corporate America in a huge company, lots of different industries, but always at their headquarters. So I know I've seen it done. I've had it done to me. I've seen it done to other people. I've seen it all in corporate America. And I thought, why do I want to rush back into another corporate job? Do I?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe that is what God has planned for me. But for it's almost been a year. This September, end of September, it will have been a year. And there's so many things I've done that I never would have done if I didn't get that pink slip.
You know, and one of the things I say all the time is life is like a maze. There's one right way in, there's one right way out. Success happens in action. So it doesn't matter what happens to you, you just have to keep moving and moving and moving. And, you know, you and I have spoken, and I talk to people about this a lot. To me, there is a certain animal, so to speak, that loves corporate America, and there's a certain animal that loves entrepreneurship. But in reality, there's a nice marriage between the two that when you go out as an entrepreneur and you're a self-starter and you've got the right attitude and you understand how to network and collaborate, well, those are amazing skills that you need to succeed in corporate America as well. So I have no doubt if you decide to stay on the entrepreneurial path that you're going to be phenomenal and amazing. But I also have no doubt that if you decide to go back in corporate America, your experience over this last year is going to dramatically impact your ability to serve in that corporate America capacity as well. So what have been some of the lessons that you've learned over the last year and some of the things that you've done? Because I know you've started a company yourself.
I started two.
You started two
companies.
companies.
And I'm actually going to run through because I have notes on the things that I've learned.
And I love that because you're so prepared.
I've got all my notes. Well, I'm a journalism major. So I was originally in broadcast journalism, and I love camera, green screens. I never would have done this green screen stuff either without getting a pink slip. I've gotten a lot more into video, but I'm a natural.
Right.
And
you
I'm a performer, so that doesn't bother me either.
Yes.
So I made my notes.
Okay.
And I said, these are the things that I learned, some of the things that I've done that I would never have done if I hadn't have got that pink slip. I started two businesses, and we'll talk more about those in a minute. I launched a website domain that I dreamed of years ago, my second job. I had dreamed of this name and dreamed of this website, but I was busy in my corporate job, drinking the Kool-Aid, totally into the company, and I never did anything with it until now.
Right.
I've published several articles in LinkedIn. I'm working on my third.
Well, I think we've got some of your we've got some of those articles. There you go. Corporate life. I need some space. And then Entrepreneur Day 95 and counting. I love that. So did you I know and Ziggy put up your LinkedIn profile. So when you were in corporate America, I'm sure you had the LinkedIn profile, you did all that, but it was really when you had gotten the pink slip that you probably stopped and took a pause and said, okay, what am I really supposed to do for this next however long it's supposed to be? And you, just like you said, you already had ideas in your head. So you really implemented and started to work on the ideas that you had received years in the past, but you didn't have the time. So how many of you out there have said to yourself, I have this great idea, but I don't have time to do it? Well, when and if you get the time, realize that might be one of the reasons you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So how long did it take you to jump right into starting these businesses?
So end of September was my last day, and I had a double whammy. I moved here because I was my mom's caretaker. She died that same month. So she died September 5th.
Wendy, I'm so sorry.
And you know what? She'd been fighting breast cancer for 10 years. And I knew halfway into that, God just told me, you're going to lose her to this. Just prepare. So we have lots of great memories. I was so ready for her to go. But it was just, okay, I lost my mom, I lost my job. I spent the last half of last year just soaking in the holidays, enjoying Thanksgiving. And I took every bauble and piece of tinsel in my mom's Christmas decoration collection and spread it all over my house. And my dad's
love it. I love that, Wendy.
So I did nothing those 3 months. And that was God said to just take these 3 months and enjoy. So January, I hit the ground running and I became a networking machine. Here I am.
And that's where I met you.
And that's where we met. That's how
we
met. But it was through the networking that I met so many people who encouraged me, who told me what not to do with my LinkedIn profile, who said, start doing some videos, start publishing some articles, get your name out there. I was new to Dallas.
Right.
And my company was in Europe, so I spent most of my time in Europe. So when I got that pink slip, I thought, I got to get to know Dallas. I don't know anybody here. I don't know the climate here.
Right.
You know what? I do need corporate America. I do need a little break. I need some space to rethink and figure out, well, what is the climate here? What are some great companies here? Do I want to strike out on my own?
Right.
And in March, I signed my contract with Mary Kay.
Wonderful.
And thought, you know what? This is going to stretch me in a way I've never been stretched.
Right.
Direct marketing, finding customers, being my own boss.
Yes.
I needed to own something.
Right.
That if it failed, there's only one person you can point the finger at.
And and that honestly is something I think is so important about being an entrepreneur. In my personal opinion, I'm in network marketing as well. And that if you're in a 100% commission only sales position, whatever industry you're in, you are going to sink or swim, but it's 100% dependent upon your efforts. And I think we all need that. And you don't get that in corporate America. You don't get that. So that experience is huge. Then you probably got all this great personal development. You were surrounded by amazing people that were lifting you up. And then you said, you know what, I can do more.
I can do more. And I decided, I went back to specificity.
Yes.
And specificity was the website, that was the word that I had come up with, oh my goodness, probably over 10 years ago. And that website that I was going to put together. But since then, I've formulated and it's become so much better than I had originally planned it. So the way I describe specificity to people, and it's my made-up word. Remember, I'm a journalism major. I love words.
Yes, you made it up.
I made it up.
And that's okay. You can make something up.
I can do this. Because when you want to brand it, too, you want it to be memorable and different. So I think about it like 3 concentric circles, and we've got a graphic somewhere in there where I talk about it. And you think about these 3 circles, and you have business, you have technology, and you have the consumer. And if you think about like a Venn diagram in these concentric circles, and there's a spot in the middle, that's specificity. And Wendy is in that spot. I'm translating for technology what the customers want. I'm hearing the business tell me this is where we want to take the company. And I'm talking to the customers, and I'm seeing if that jives with what they want. And if there's alignment, and if there's not, I go back to the business and say, well, this isn't exactly what the customer wants. Right. But here's what we can do. And the same thing with the customer. They may think they want it to go this way. But I'm like that translator in the middle, and that sweet spot is specificity.
I love that. I love that. And when did this whole concept come to you?
The concept, so the specificity always come to me is just being especially specific. I was sitting in my church Sunday school class about a month ago. This is very recent. And he was, our leader, John, he had these 3 concentric circles, and it was like God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and your true inner self that God intended everyone to be is in that middle spot. And very few of us live in that, find out who we're truly supposed to be.
But you had the total concept put in your brain with everything that you're working years ago. And so you're probably sitting there, and there's the graphic right now. So you're looking, and you're probably a month ago freaking out saying, okay, that's exactly what I have been thinking, and I was right. You know, because I think sometimes people have thoughts come to them, they get ideas, they have concepts, you start thinking about it, and you think, I mean, is this accurate? I mean, do I have something? And wow, that affirmation that you received a month ago or so,
about a month.
You had to say, okay, that was my answer. I am on the right path. I mean, that had to make you feel amazing.
It did. And thank you for telling me, you know what, Wendy, why don't you put a graphic together? And I thought, I've had this in my mind. And when I explain it to people, I do my quick elevator speech. I tell them about the 3 circles and just say, imagine it. But when I put that graphic together that Ziggy just put on the screen, I went, oh my goodness, I'm so glad Jen suggested that. Because it just brought it to life what I've been saying. And there it is.
There it is again.
And if you put my face, think of my space where that S is.
Right. No, I love it. But, you know, one of the things I think is really interesting about what you're sharing is each and every one of us, we all are sent here with special gifts and special talents, and we probably each have our own 3 circles, and it might not be those 3 concepts, but it's really our gifts, and our sweet spot is in the middle. And so it's really learning how to become so authentic and knowing who you are, because you probably having a strong spiritual foundation that has probably grounded you and really helped you identify who you are authentically, what your gifts are, what your talents are, and you probably accepted it very easily, but sometimes it's very unclear, and the water's really murky for a lot of people.
And if you want to monetize it, that's the thing. It's like, well, I have all these gifts, but how do I make money with this?
Wonderful.
That's the other side of it.
That's the truth. So now, when did you launch that company?
I launched Specificity when I launched it. It was 3 months ago.
Okay, 3 months
ago.
Yeah,
it was right before I was leaving for my 4th of July. So not even, actually just like 2. Yeah. It was like July, 1st, that weekend leading into July 1st. And I said, I'm not going on vacation until I launch this site. And I launched it. I was up all night. I basically had 30 minutes to get ready for the plane because Uber was coming. And I launched it, and I applied for a couple jobs and said, I can go now. So it was right before July 4th.
Well, I love it. I think it's amazing. And what do you see for your future? Do you think that you will continue down this road, or do you think you'll get back in corporate America? I mean, what do you even want to do at this point?
Yeah, that's such a great question, because it's one of the things when I was going to all these career transition workshops, and I'll tell you a funny story about that. When I went to my first workshop, they were talking about all these people in transition, and you are in transition. Well, I was thinking gender transition, because this is what I've been hearing a lot of, and I went, I'm not, and I'm thinking, am I in the right seminar? I'm not
Wendy's
changing my gender.
Yeah, Wendy's like, hold on.
Because they didn't say career transition. They just said, for all of you in transition. And I'm looking, there are like 100 people in this room. I'm thinking,
you're like, is this?
And it was in a church.
So
I thought, are we in the right place? So career transition.
Yes.
And what was one of the things that a lot of the counselors were telling everybody is you need to figure out what you want to do.
Right.
And so that's when I decided I need to, this Mary Kay thing is, it's a lot of fun. It's stretching me in ways I've never been stretched before, which is why I did it. And then specificity puts me in what I love to do as a years of experience practitioner, but it lets me decide: do I want to go back into corporate America, or do I want to operate independently,
right?
And as a sole proprietor. And right now, I've got a client. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but is it enough to pay the bills? I don't know. If I got a great offer from a company, honestly, it would be prayer involved. If that's what it's honestly, it's all in God's hands.
Well, one of the things I think is real important is I think there's 3 steps to living a fulfilled, happy life where you can create a legacy. And step 1 is you, and 98% of your time, your energy, your effort, your resources has to be put into you. Step 2 is your career and your profession, and step 3 is your legacy. And you leverage your efforts in both steps to be able to create a legacy, but you really have to spend 98% of your time on you. So
and how many of us really do that?
Well, what I hear you saying is over the last year, you really have spent a lot of time on you, and that clarity has come. And there are, to me, 3 basic needs that people have to have met in order to have financial abundance. And number 1 is you have to have some type of financial stability. So I love that what you said is, look, either I'm going to do what I have and be able to take care of myself and my family financially, or if I have to go back into corporate America and be blessed that way and continue whatever it is God wants you to do, you're going to do that. And I think I want to applaud you for that, because I think a lot of people, they say it's either or. It's either I'm 100% corporate America or I'm 100% entrepreneurship. It's really, you kind of have to juggle both. But a lot of people aren't open to that. So that's a blessing. And whether you realize it or not, I promise you, and those that are watching, that's a huge tip. I mean, it's a huge tip. I love it. Now, one of the things that we do is we have an Ask Jens segment where it's somebody will do a video, or somebody will send us a question. And I would love to get your 2 cents on this. And the question for Ask Jens is, I always feel overwhelmed. I think a lot of us can probably relate to that. I always feel overwhelmed and stressed out. How can I stop this cycle? Well, number 1, I want to say thank you so much for sending in your question, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, because a lot of people feel overwhelmed and stressed out. I think it's important that you identify where you are. And I will tell you something that a lot of people don't even realize they're stressed out, but what they're doing is they're being snappy. They're snappy turtles. They're short. And what they need to really realize is you got to stop and you say, okay, listen, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Number 1, write down what it is that you're feeling. And really, I think, understand that our thoughts create they create an energy, and our thoughts actually go to the pituitary gland, and our brain secretes hormones that make us continue to feel whatever we're thinking. So you have to stop the way you're thinking. And being a faith-based person, I can't wait to hear what you have to add on this, but being a faith-based person, you know that when you're thinking about yourself more, where it's self-centered, you are going to be more stressed out. But if you start thinking others-centered and you start thinking about other people, you'll find that you're not as stressed out, because you're focus is on helping make this world a better place. Your focus is on helping make your family better. Your focus is on helping more people do more things for good. But the fact of the matter is, you do have to plan. You have to realize you're not alone. This is normal. Things go up, things go down. You are going to be stressed out and overwhelmed at times, but you are in control. So you stop and you make a plan, and then you execute that plan, and you get people to help you. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. And I think it's really interesting that some of the things that we even talked about with you is, you did get a support system. That's how you found Mary Kay, and that did stretch you in a way. So, I mean, what are your kind of 2 cents on how do you help somebody feel overwhelmed and stressed out?
Well, when you feel that way, as soon as I saw that marquee come up with that question, I immediately thought of say the best yes.
Yes.
I am in the middle of a Bible study. Her name's Lisa. I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name. It's like Turnquist, something like that. And her study is called Saying the Best Yes. And what you have to do to help yourself from becoming overwhelmed and stressed is, are you saying yes to too many things?
It's
and
true.
What are the voices, what are the conversations in your head? You're in control of what you say yes and what you say no to.
That's
and
right.
the thing, do the next best thing or the next right thing.
That's right.
You control what you're going to say yes and no to. And that can really help. If you're overwhelmed and stressed, are you saying yes to too many things?
Well, and one of the things I tell people all the time is when you have a 12-month plan, when you know where you're going and you have clarity, it makes your yeses more defined, and it's very easy to say no because that doesn't align with what you're doing. But one of the things that I say all the time is laughter truly is your best medicine. And everybody's got to be laughing out there. You got to be cracking up out there. I'm getting some really funny videos, and I want you to send me your funny videos. I've got some friends and I that actually yesterday planned some really fun videos. And Wendy, I'm going to have you help us with this because you're perfect. But the video that I say to every one of my guests, I say, hey, do you have any funny videos? And Wendy said, oh, I've got a hysterical video. So set this video up for Laughter is the Best Medicine because it's so funny.
A friend of mine, when she saw me recording this, she goes, this is going to go viral. Last weekend was last Saturday was the last day of the North Texas Rodeo, and they have a petting zoo. And we brought my little niece Brenna there, and Brenna was having a ball, and there are all these baby goats. And there was this one baby goat, and I'm wearing my designer cowboy boots. I don't go to Cavender's or Shepler's to get my boots. I go to Nordstrom. So I have these designer cowboy boots, and there's my niece, and that's my cutie patootie dog Milo the Pilo.
That's so cute.
And I love the bottom one because you'll see that my niece is at Ethan Allen. She's picking the fabrics at Ethan Allen. So
I love it.
That's Brenna being just her cute little self. But one of the things that happened is this little baby goat just comes up to me and starts, I call him the shoe shining goat.
Right.
He just takes his head, starts rubbing up and down my boots.
We got to see because we've got to see this video. And it's so cute.
Ziggy's going to cue it up. There it is.
Okay, so did he do your other boots?
He did the other one. So I didn't start recording until he did the other one. So he actually started on the other one, and he kept going. So I recorded him doing. He did both of them.
Sweet.
He shined my boots for him. Little goat at the rodeo.
I mean, and that was just a gift. I'm telling you,
I know.
because you've got this contagious energy, and so the goat came over here. But what I thought was so cute is that you did videotape it because we have some really funny, silly things that happen to us. And so many times we think, gosh, we should video that, but you did video that.
I did.
And what we want everybody out there doing is we want you videoing those silly, funny things that happen to you. Send them in to jens@jensjohnson.com. And you know what? Go out and do some silly, funny things because laughter truly is the best medicine. We have got to go out and make this world a better place by blessing it with our gifts and our talents. We have to realize that the impact that just one person can make, and that that impact is the impact that you can make on this world and other people is tremendous and grand. And until we meet again next Monday at 3 p.m. Central, be big, be bold, and be you.